What is going on, YouTube? Rodrigo Manzo here, and today we're going to go ahead and cover the first installment of the off-season. And I haven't really decided what I'm going to name this little series, but more than likely it'll be something related to the off-season because I'm in the off-season. So, without further ado, I really just wanted to go over some of the goals that I have set forth for the off-season, what my training is looking like, which you will be seeing over the commentary here, and really just give you all a better perspective of where I stand 8 months out from Worlds. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first thing that I want to go over is my nutrition. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, which you should, my link will be in the description below, I mentioned that I have not actually been in a calorie surplus in well over 2 years. A consistent one, right? And the reason for that was simply just the fact that I wanted to maintain my weight to stay relatively close to the weight class that I compete in. However, with being 8 months out, I made the decision to be in a lean mass phase or just in a calorie surplus for a prolonged period of time. This is very exciting because I haven't done this in 2+ years, as I mentioned. So I'm really looking forward to see what kind of progression I can accumulate over these next 3 months, maybe 4 months of being in a calorie surplus. So my current macros are, and again, this is for me, this is what I have found to work best for myself, specifically for the protein intake, which is 200 grams. And just to give you an idea, I woke up at 155 pounds this morning, so kind of on the higher end, but like I said, it works really well for me. I feel better, I feel stronger, I feel recovered from session to session, and I've never had any negative side effects of having 200 grams of protein for my body weight or my frame in general. As far as carbohydrates goes, I'm eating anywhere between 475 on the low end to 500 on the basically on the higher end. So lots of room to play with there. And as far as dietary fat, I'm at 65 grams. So I've never been a huge dietary fat person. I've always enjoyed carbohydrates more. And of course, that's going to fuel performance a lot more efficiently than dietary fat. However, we want to make sure we're still consuming enough dietary fat for 2 reasons. Number one is for proper fat-soluble vitamin absorption and utilization, and of course for hormonal balance or hormonal purposes, right? So I'm consuming anywhere between 3,200 and 3,500 calories. So pretty good for my frame. And like I said, it's been a long time since I've been in a prolonged and planned calorie surplus, so I look forward to this. I can already tell you from being on my 3rd week of the first off-season block that my recovery is ridiculously high, and things are going to look pretty good over the next few blocks of training. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what I'm addressing this off-season as far as training. So the first and most important thing that I need to address is my squat. I need to fix my squat. I need to handle and put an extreme emphasis on 2 things. Number one, completely eliminate my hip discomfort. And basically my issue is that I'm lacking hip internal rotation, or IR. And this is very important, especially once you break parallel in the squat, because you're basically demanding a higher amount of internal hip rotation when you're breaking depth, right? So I need to ensure that I fix that, increase that, and also I need to work on my faulty squat motor pattern. I don't know if you know or if you have noticed, but I have what some people may call kind of a broken squat or a stripper squat. So when I descend, everything's good. But when I ascend, come up, my quads tend to shoot back, my knees tend to shoot back, and my lower back tends to kind of take the brunt of the load. And honestly, the fact of the matter is that my back is much stronger relative to my legs or my quads. So we're gonna do something about that this off season, and we're gonna fix that by, of course, implementing certain accessory movements. For example, right now you're taking a look at the SSB Bulgarian split squat, and these are horrendous. And just by implementing this exercise on its own, I can already see a tremendous discrepancy between my leg strength on one leg as opposed to, you know, bilateral. And, you know, that makes sense. You're stronger bilateral than you are unilateral. However, I can tell my legs are weak relative to my back. Not only because of the squat pattern I have, but just a matter of how much hypertrophy work I can handle when it comes to my quads versus my back. So you've already seen high bar squats is how I'm starting the week, and I'm also implementing belt squats throughout the week as well. I'll have two variations. I'll have just a standard squat, a belt squat on one day, and then I'll have a sumo stance squat on another day, which will be coming up soon after this training. So again, a lot of, also I think I'm implementing leg press in there as well, which I haven't done in, I don't know, 5+ years. So again, a lot of quad or leg hypertrophy that I'm lacking as far as my squat strength, right? So my hopes is that by addressing my faulty squat motor pattern and in combination of strengthening my legs, that should remedy my issue right now as far as the squat goes. Moving on to bench. This one is it's not as difficult as it is for my squat, but I have noticed that I have weak shoulders relative to my chest, and this is evidenced by my sticking point in my max bench press. About 2, maybe 3 inches off the chest is where I start to really either shift as far as bar path because I'm weak there, or something, or I just completely miss, right? So what I'm doing to address this is focusing on shoulder hypertrophy in combination with chest hypertrophy. And my predominant or my preferred accessory movement right now will be the barbell incline bench. Of course, with dumbbell work in between here and there. But that one, I can already tell, is making a tremendous difference. I didn't get a chance to record Tuesday's bench press training, but I actually hit an 8 rep PR on the bench press competition. I think it was 297 pounds, and it's only my second week back into training, right? So far so good. And then of course, one of the things to consider with bench press at all times is to maintain exposure. So I've regressed to benching 3 times a week just to make sure I'm getting enough frequency to maintain some of the motor patterns, right? Bench press typically takes a hit when you regress exposures as far as motor pattern or just efficiency and technique, so I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen in this off season. And then lastly, for sumo deadlift or just deadlift in general, I'm regressing the exposures just a bit to, I believe, 1.5 exposures per week. That's most likely going to go back up to 2 exposures per week, depending on how everything else is progressing in the coming blocks. But really, another emphasis as far as deadlift goes is the adductors, strengthening my adductors and strengthening my low back through accessory work. So you guys saw the GHDs, which I never implemented into my training. So there's a lot of variation that I've never implemented into my training that I'm testing out this time around. And then also working, like I said, with the sumo belt squats and then some adductor exercises along the way, stiff leg deadlifts. You guys saw earlier, those will probably turn into sumo stiff leg deadlifts or a different variation. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, and there's plenty of time, so I look forward to it. And I also look forward to keeping you all updated on the progress and moving along with that. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or if you're interested in coaching, go ahead and email me through my website. Or like I said, if you have comments, concerns, or anything, go ahead and put that in the comment section. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll check you all out in the next one.